Today we're with Michael Simmons from Mount Warning Tours. Michael, thanks for supporting the Infinite Choices Convention.
Very happy to do so, Andrew.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Michael, for those that are not familiar with what you do, tell us a little bit about your enterprising activity called Mount Warning Tours.
Mount Warning Tours is it's a tour company, but we do a number of things locally in terms of, we do eco cruises, for example, on the Tweed River at Tumbolgum. We do sightseeing tours, we do four-wheel drive tours, we do kayak, stand-up paddleboard tours and hire, and we do sea kayaking tours, as well as taking people out into the beautiful caldera to properties that we work on, including a magnificent 3,500 acre property that we use for our four-wheel drive tours, and also for accommodation and stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, etc., etc.
So the offering that you're giving to the participants in your tours gives them a real bird's eye view, if you like, of the region.
Well, Mount Warning Tours is named after Wollumban Mount Warning, and it's more about the activities that you can do within sight of Mount Warning, within the region known as the Green Cauldron. Yeah. So all of our activities on the river, it's with Mount Warning as a backdrop. It's with the border ranges as a backdrop for our four-wheel drive tours. But we're focused very much at delivering unique adventure activities within that Green Cauldron region, with the Tweed Valley and with Murwillumbah as the focus. I mean, we look upon Murwillumbah as the natural heart of the Green Cauldron. Murwillumbah is ideally placed to be a hub for all types of activities, and we look forward to being a part of that growth and evolution of Murwillumbah and the Tweed Valley going forward.
Excellent. Now you mentioned Mount Warning, and at the same time you mentioned Wollumban.
Wollumban.
There is an indigenous relationship to Mount Warning?
Absolutely. Wollumban is Aboriginal for cloudcatcher. It's one of the names of the mountain. The mountain is very sacred, not just to the local tribes, and there are a number of tribes who are within the region, I guess. You have the Bundjalung Nation, you have the Githable Nation, who has native title to the border ranges with that view down to Wollumban Mount Warning. The sacredness of the mountain can be seen in their storylines, their dreaming stories, as far as I understand, how it has been relayed to me by elders of the Githable Nation, that it was a very sacred place to tribes within the whole east coast of Australia, and in some ways the storylines of Indigenous Australia radiate out from Wollumban Mount Warning into outback Australia, into Western Australia, into the Northern Territory, and today it's still considered to be a very sacred mountain amongst not just the Aboriginal tribes, but I think the spirit of the mountain and its sacredness is understood by many different groups, many different ethnic groups as well, that make up Australia as it is today, this multicultural melting pot of people, and particularly you see that in the Tweed Valley.
Yeah, yeah. So we're getting more of an awareness of that ancient wisdom and culture around the mount, but also a modern take on how to understand that. And you're part of some collaborative efforts in that regard, I understand. Yes,
that's right. Our model for business, our business model, if you want to call it that, is based on collaboration, rather than competition. We work with a number of different organisations within the valley, and we plan to work with others in the future. Mm-hmm. We believe that it's important to work collectively. It's still important to have an individual focus on what your business is doing going forward, but we're actively seeking partnerships. We're partnering with the local Aboriginal communities that I've mentioned before. We're about to sign a formal partnership with the Githable Nation, for example. We partner with a number of different adventure tour operators locally, for example, Fingal Adventures, Byron Bay Stand-Up Paddle, Nightcap Four-Wheel Drive Nature Park. Our ethos is to work with other companies because We look at the success of adventure collectives in other areas of the world, particularly in Queenstown, for example, Cairns, North Queensland, and how by working collectively, it means that you're actually looking after your own interest as well, because there's no operators in this area who can satisfy, for example, the conference market. But by working together, we can find a way to provide activities for 150, 200 people.
Sure.
And I think that's very important. You know, collaboration, not competition. You know, working together to find solutions, you know, going forward. And that's where we see the convention, the conference that you have planned. We see that as a catalyst for moving that whole philosophy and that process, that mechanism forward rapidly. We really believe that movement can bring something very special to the valley, to the Green Cauldron region as a whole, but also be a model for other regions throughout the country.
Well, you're singing the same song that I am preaching, if you like, and it's great to hear that. With regards to your own efforts going forward, the ambition to collaborate and still be individually prosperous is something that is sounding out with what you're saying. Is that something you get a sense from other operators in the region? They want to be part of that mix?
I think the newer, more innovative operators can see that. They've already bought into that. You know, I've had informal discussions with a number of them. We're very much heading in the same direction. I wouldn't say that is universal and across the board. All new ideas take time to gain traction, and this is just another example of that. But I think over time, the majority of operators in the area will get on board with that completely and enjoy being a part of that movement.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the movement that I'm proposing too is a connection of those innovators and entrepreneurs who want to collaborate, who want to connect, create and construct something totally universal in terms of individual prosperity, but collective outcome, collective impact and a global resolution that's local. And you're part of that, Michael. That's fantastic. Is there anything, Michael, else you want to share with us about Mount Warning Tours and your own contribution to the convention itself?
Well, I think there's a lot of very good things happening in the background at the moment in this area. And I think there is a collective will from a majority of stakeholders to get on board and to take this idea forward. And whether it's council or whether it's National Parks and Wildlife, whether it's existing tourism operators, whether it's the Indigenous communities, whether it's operators like ourselves, who are really prepared to get involved with that at a deeper level, perhaps, and contribute contribute collaboratively to collaborate. And find a way to work together because this area is so special, and I think it's just a matter of getting that information out there domestically, internationally. And maybe we do have the opportunity to really turn this evolution of the Tweed Valley, the Caldera, the Green Cauldron, to turn it into Australia's adventure hub perhaps, but not just about adventure, about so many other things. If you have a look at Murwillumbah is already a cultural hub. You look at the Margaret Olley exhibition at the Tweed River Regional Gallery, you look at the museum, it's a foodie hub. It's a historical hub. It's just to me, this area is at a very important time in its evolution, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of that going forward, and thrilled to be able to collaborate with like-minded organisations as we turn this into something very special going forward.
It sounds like you're a special man, Michael. Thanks for being part of the Infinite Choices Convention.
Thank you.